Ever gotten a pay raise, felt like you were on top of the world for a month, and then, poof, somehow you end up with the same amount of money in your bank account? If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why that happens and give you a clear, no-nonsense plan to escape that cycle for good. And it's not about some complex get-rich-quick scheme. It's about a really fundamental shift in how you think about yourself and your money.
So, let's start right there with that feeling. You get the promotion, you land a bonus, or you finally get that raise you've been fighting for, and the initial high is awesome, right? But then, just a few months later, that extra money just feels, well, normal. It's the new baseline. The excitement is totally gone. So why does our brain do this to us? What's going on here?
Well, psychologists actually have a name for this whole phenomenon. It's called hedonic adaptation, or sometimes the hedonic treadmill. And it's basically our brain's default setting to just get used to things, whether they're good or bad. You know that shiny new car you were so excited about? A few months later, it's just the car. That bigger apartment, it's just home. Your happiness level just resets, and you start looking for that next hit. This little psychological quirk, this is the beast we have to conquer.
And this treadmill, it creates a really dangerous trap. It's a trap that keeps millions of people feeling like they're totally stuck financially, even while they're earning more and more money throughout their careers.
This is the absolute definition of what people call lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation. As your income goes up, your spending just seems to follow it right up the ladder. You know, fancier dinners, nicer vacations, maybe a bigger rent payment. And before you know it, things that used to feel like a total luxury are now just necessities. And the crazy part is, even if you're earning double what you used to, you feel like you're just running in place, making zero real progress.
So, how in the world do we get off this treadmill? What's the escape plan? Well, it's not about some complicated spreadsheet or trying to chase the hottest stock. Nope. It starts with something much, much deeper than that. It all starts with changing your identity.
Just take a look at this. On the left, you've got these limiting beliefs that so many of us tell ourselves, right? Oh, I'm just a spender, or I'm just bad with money. The critical shift, the real game changer, is over on the right. It's about consciously deciding to adopt a new identity. Not, I will try to be a saver, but I am a saver. Not, I hope to build wealth, but I am a wealth builder. Now, this might sound like just a tiny change in words, but it is a massive internal rewiring that changes every decision you make.
There's this great quote from an organizational psychologist named Benjamin Hardy that just nails this idea. He says you have to state, own, and internalize the identity of your future. Think about that. You don't need 15 years of proof to call yourself a saver. The moment you decide to save and you actually take that first action, bam, you're a saver. You're putting a stake in the ground for who you're becoming, not who you used to be.
So once you've made that declaration, I am a saver, the next move is 100% commitment. And here's why. Being only 98% committed is absolutely exhausting. It means you're constantly debating with yourself, should I save this time? Maybe I can skip just this once. That's a real thing called decision fatigue. But when you make one single big decision like I save from every single paycheck no matter what, you completely eliminate hundreds of those small, draining little decisions.
Okay, so with our new identity locked in, it's time for the first big test. The legendary investor Charlie Munger famously said this is the hardest part of the entire wealth-building journey, saving your first $100,000. This is the first summit we have to climb.
And let's be totally honest here. This first climb is a grind. It's torture. This timeline shows that even if you save $650 a month and get a pretty standard 7% market return, it's going to take you nearly a decade to hit that first 100K. And look at this. After 5 full years of consistent effort, you're not even halfway there financially. It can feel agonizingly, painfully slow, and this is exactly where most people lose hope and give up.
Yeah, this is just the brutal math of it. In the beginning, your progress is almost completely dependent on your own savings. Your contributions are doing all the heavy lifting because your investment returns are still pretty small. This phase is what forges discipline. It's trial by fire. And it's also the exact spot where most people get discouraged and quit. Pushing through this period is literally everything.
Because, and this is the good part, once you actually conquer that first summit, the entire game changes. You finally unlock the true power of your wealth machine.
And this is where the magic really starts to happen. Just look at the acceleration on this timeline. It took almost 10 years to get to that first 100K, right? But the next 100K? That only takes another 5.5 years. And from there, the snowball just gets bigger and starts rolling faster. That $100,000 mark is so critical because it's the tipping point where your investments can start generating thousands of dollars a year all by themselves. Your money is finally doing the heavy lifting for you.
And I cannot overstate how massive the psychological shift is here. You're not just grinding to save anymore. You're actively watching your wealth multiply. There's this amazing moment. It's when your investment returns for the month are actually bigger than the money you saved. Once you cross that line, you've gone from pushing a giant boulder uphill to watching it roll down the other side, gaining its own powerful momentum.
So what's the single most important thing during that brutal early climb? It's not about chasing the perfect stock or trying to time the market. It's your savings rate. I mean, just look at this chart. The person saving 10% of their income ends up with way more than the person saving 5%. Here's the deal. You can't control what the stock market does, but you have total 100% control over your savings rate. Early on, that is the most powerful lever you can possibly pull. All right, so now that we get the mechanics and the psychology, let's get into the final phase, mastery. This is all about learning to think like a true wealth builder for the rest of your journey.
The first mental shift is moving from just saving money to investing money. A bank savings account, that's for your emergency fund, it's for safety, it's absolutely essential, but it is not going to build you wealth. Why? Because inflation will just eat its value over time. To build real wealth, your money has to be put to work in assets that can actually grow faster than inflation.
Okay, second shift. Frugality is smart, don't get me wrong, but there's a limit to how much you can cut, right? You can only cut your expenses down to zero. But there is absolutely no limit to how much you can earn. A wealth builder mindset focuses energy on increasing income because that's the lever with infinite potential.
The third shift is a big one. It's moving away from just trading your time for money and toward building income streams by owning assets. As an employee, your income is pretty much tied to the hours you put in. But an owner builds wealth through assets, like a business or real estate or stocks, that can generate income even when they're sleeping. That's the real goal.
Fourth, and this kind of brings us full circle, it's about prioritizing your net worth over your standard of living. Instead of letting that lifestyle creep eat up every single raise, a wealth builder keeps their lifestyle pretty much the same and invests the difference. That gap between what you earn and what you spend, that is the soil where all your future wealth is going to grow.
And finally, the last shift. Moving from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. A scarcity mindset sees the world as a zero-sum game, which makes you fearful and avoid risk. But an abundance mindset, it sees a world that is just full of opportunities. It encourages you to bet on yourself, to take calculated risks, and to collaborate. This is the real engine for long-term growth. So we end with this thought. Your financial situation today, right now, is a direct result of your past identity and your past habits. But the amazing thing is, the future is a completely blank slate. So the only question that really matters now is, what will your future identity build?